Now for our Great British Debate this hour, and I'm asking, is hydrogen really the right way forward? Energy Secretary Grant Shapps has faced criticism from his fellow Tories due to a planned hydrogen levy. Now, the plan is actually in line with the government's current net zero strategy to reduce the UK's carbon emissions to zero by 2050. Now, this levy would be in addition to the current green levy, which adds around about 8% to energy bills in order to fund energy-efficient schemes. And the idea of using hydrogen to propel the UK into net zero has actually faced quite a bit of criticism, especially when it comes to spending large amounts of money pursuing zero carbon emissions during a cost of living crisis. So, for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is hydrogen the way forward? Well, I'm joined now by former Chief Executive of Energy UK, Angela Knight, and Director of Car26, Lois Perry. Well, I'm going to start with you, Angela. Angela, so hydrogen, talk to me. Is it a good energy, and why is there this great pursuit towards it?
Well, hydrogen's got its part to play. There's no two ways about it. Hydrogen's already used quite extensively in pharmaceutical industries, for example, petrochemical industries. And so to look to use hydrogen, or indeed produce hydrogen, in a cleaner way than we do at the moment, because right now we produce it from methane, and you've got a lot of carbon there that comes out of the back. So to do it other ways, through electrolysis of water, does make sense. It also is eminently possible to start putting some hydrogen in, for example, the gas main for heating. And perhaps one use of hydrogen which does need some more work done on it is hydrogen powering particularly lorries. But I don't think we should think that this is free or cheap. It's like just about everything in this area. It's going to cost money. And, you know, I keep on saying that, fine, I'm up for any of these initiatives, but the first thing that needs to be decided is who pays, how much, and for what. Now, the actual, what are the outcomes? What are the net? Sorry.
Lois.
Well, I think the answer to that question is the people that pay. The people that pay are us, you know. Hydrogen doesn't exist naturally. It doesn't exist in nature. It has to be created. It's very volatile and it's very corrosive. And the only way that it can actually be stabilised, bizarrely, if you put it onto the grid for using gas boilers, which have been converted, is to actually add gas, which is a completely pointless exercise. The amount of energy that's used to create hydrogen is actually the same as what you get out of it, or in fact, it could be a little bit more energy. It's completely pointless. We have lots and lots of natural gas. We have lots of resources all around. But the main thing that I'm concerned about with this is it's just another racket, isn't it? We've got Lord Debon being talked about in the Daily Telegraph, today, about the questions over him advising government on net zero laws and then advising investors in terms of subsidies and in terms of renewables where to put their money. Surely there's some sort of thing going on there. That's not right. That has to be looked at.
Well, I mean, obviously he's not here to defend himself, and that's all speculation. So we can't really, you can't verify that is it. But, some people would look at that and think it does feel like there's a lot of money knocking about for lots of these sort of almost harebrained schemes.
Yeah.
Is Lois correct in saying, Angela, that hydrogen, when you put it in, you get very little out of it? You have to put the same amount of energy to get very little more in terms of return. Is that correct?
It rather depends how you look at it. I mean, absolutely correct. If you say, right, I'm now going to create hydrogen, I'm going to use methane to do so, whereas otherwise I would probably have been using that methane, that natural gas, in a boiler, then the answer is yes. But if we take some parts of the country, and let's have a go at Scotland, perhaps, where they've got an awful lot of wind, and sometimes, that wind is producing electricity which isn't needed. So what is happening then is those windmills are being switched off. Now, if you kept them running and you use the surplus electricity for the electrolysis of water, which gives you hydrogen and oxygen, and then you stored the hydrogen, then you're into a different sort of system. We are substantially far away from getting there.
Right.
What I do think needs to take place is that some of these experimental processes need to be properly looked at, and in conjunction with major uses major parts of the industrial firmament, because they can actually both contribute to the payment of it as well as test the validity.
But isn't look, I agree with everything that you've said, but isn't the whole argument really that this is completely pointless, because we should be using our own natural gas, which is the absolute best and most energy efficient way to use energy, to create energy and to create electricity. When I interviewed Lee Anderson for my YouTube channel, Cartman 6 YouTube channel recently, he said that he was very concerned that the civil service could be that could be holding us back in terms of our energy independence because they might have relationships with renewable companies. Why aren't we fracking? Why are we subsidising all of these, quite rightly, harebrained schemes? That's a good way of describing it. Why aren't we using our gas? It's ridiculous.
Well, listen, Angela,
there is
I'll give
a
you
point
about 20
there.
seconds to you and 10 seconds to you, Lois. So, Angela, your thoughts, briefly.
Yes, you see, I would run a proper fracking experiment as well. I use the word experiment simply because, not to mean something small, but to mean something that's done under proper controlled manner. Because, fracking, we're clearly sitting on the gas. Whether or not we can get it out sensibly, I do not know.
Okay, but that's
too much
fracking.
happens in this argument without people actually finding out what can be done.
Angela, very briefly, hydrogen, though, is it a goer, yes or no?
Hydrogen is a goer under certain circumstances for certain uses. Putting it in the gas main is not something I would do.
And Lois, briefly, 10
Rod
seconds.
Shapps putting it onto our energy bills in this time where people are choosing between heating and eating is immoral and vile. I think it's disgusting.
All right, thank you very much.